Hey everyone, welcome back to That's How I Cookie Coach. I'm Stephanie and today we're going to be baking up something really delicious. I don't know about you, but during this stay-at-home quarantine time, I've been trying out some new things and I've been trying to make things that I've never made before. So for Easter morning, I made homemade cinnamon rolls for the first time ever. And they were so delicious that it got me thinking about some cinnamon roll cookies that my cousins made for Christmas this past year. And I thought, I bet that I could make those cookies with my sugar cookie recipe. And really just one other ingredient, the cinnamon. So that's what I did. Yesterday, I took my sugar cookie dough and I made them into these amazing cinnamon roll cookies. And I tell you what, I had to hide these ones from my family because they were eating them even faster than they ate the real cinnamon rolls. They're delicious. So I used the dough that I have already given you the recipe for and shown in my video, how to make sugar cookies, part 2, making the dough. If you remember in that video, we made 2 of these discs. So the recipe in that video has enough to make 2 of these. We are just going to use 1 today. So you can cut that recipe right in half and follow along with this one. Okay? So first thing we're gonna do, I only chilled this for about a half an hour instead of like in the other recipe where we chilled it for about 2 to 3 hours. The reason is because we're gonna be rolling this dough up instead of cutting it out. When we're doing cutout cookies, we want that dough to be really firm and really set up so we have nice straight edges. With this, we do want it a little bit softer so that as we roll it, it doesn't get too cracked. Mine got a little cracked, it's fine, it's still amazing, but we're gonna try and avoid that as much as possible. Today I have this rolling pin. It's a little different than the one that I was using before. This one is a Joseph. Joseph is the brand. I do have a link in my storefront, my Amazon storefront, which is in the description below for this one. I'm using the biggest band on it, which is the purple band, and I believe it's 10 millimeters. For me, that's just a little thin for my cutout cookies, but it's perfect for this, and it makes it super easy. So I'm just gonna go ahead and start rolling. Again, I typically will roll on a silicone mat. It usually allows it so that the mat will stay in place, it doesn't slide all around, and I usually don't get too bad of sticking, so I don't have to continue to add flour and incorporate that into my dough and start to dry out the dough. So I don't add any flour when it comes to rolling. So I am rolling this. Now, when I was doing it before, I found that a good measurement, oh, I forgot something. We're only gonna do half. I did this when I tried it out yesterday too. We're gonna cut this in half because we're gonna make 2 rolls. Otherwise, we end up with one super gigantic roll. So I'm gonna just cut that in half and set one of these aside. And then I'll continue rolling for you. So let's start that over here. I'm going to aim for about a 9-inch by 7-inch rectangle. Doesn't have to be perfect. Nothing in baking does. But that's my goal. All right, let's see what I've got here. I've got about 7 by 7.5. I'm gonna take a little off of this edge and add it down here to get a nice rectangle. Let's see what we've got now. Yeah, that's pretty close to about a 9 by 7. So, next thing I need to do is melt my butter. Okay, so now what we're gonna do is we're gonna take 1 tablespoon of melted butter and we're gonna brush it all over the surface of the dough, just like you would making homemade cinnamon rolls. We're gonna brush it on really generously all over here. So just like I divided my dough up in half, I've also divided my toppings into 2 portions as well. So 1 tablespoon of melted butter for this portion of dough, and then I'll also do 1 tablespoon of butter for this portion of dough over here. In my cinnamon and sugar mixture, I have 2 of them, 1 for each batch, and I have 2 tablespoons of sugar and 1/2 tablespoon of cinnamon. So I'm just gonna go ahead and I'm going to just shake that all over my melted butter and my dough. Okay, I like to kind of press it in a little bit, apply a little bit of pressure, and then also it allows that melted butter to kind of come together with the cinnamon and sugar. All right, and now the exciting part, we're gonna roll it up. Okay, we're gonna roll it up and we are going to wrap it tightly in some plastic wrap. So I'm gonna try and make it as tight as possible, and I'm also kind of pulling up from the bottom as I go to try and close any cracks that might be happening. Nice tight cinnamon roll sugar cookie. Perfect. All right, and then, like I said, I'm going to wrap this pretty tight to keep that in a nice tight roll. And then this will be refrigerated for 2 hours so that it comes together and chills and firms up so that when we're ready to slice it, it will slice really well as well. All right, so I'm just gonna do my other roll. I'm gonna let you watch that in a speeded up version, and then we'll be back ready to slice and bake. All right, so these have been chilling for 2 hours. I am now ready to slice them up. I have this serrated knife here, so this seems to work the best for slicing through them and not putting too much pressure and squashing them. So I am actually going to aim for 16 slices. Makes them each a little bigger than a 1/2 inch. So I'm just gonna eyeball it and go about halfway. And then I'm gonna do the next one in half and in half, and then again. We're now gonna be at 8. And one more time is gonna give us 16. All right, now the ends don't look quite as pretty, but I tell you what, they taste just as delicious. So those are like the baker's treat if you want the little ends here. I'm gonna go ahead and place them right onto my baking sheets because unlike the sugar cookies that we did before, I am gonna go ahead and pop these right into the oven. My oven is actually already preheated behind me. It's at 340 degrees and it will be ready for me to put these in right away. All right, straight down the center, half and half and half. So much easier than rolling them out and using cookie cutters, and it's gonna be pretty awesome too. These, when my husband had them yesterday, he said he thinks that this is his new favorite flavor. So you guys will have to comment below and tell me if this takes the cake for your favorite flavor as well, or if one of my other flavors is still your favorite. Put these all on here, line them up. These are still gonna go into the oven for the same amount of time as the traditional sugar cookie. So 340 degrees, and I'm gonna be watching them around 16 to 18 minutes. So I'll be back and I will show you how we are going to do a very simple decoration to make them look like cinnamon rolls. All right, you guys. It was a painful 18 minutes to wait because I could smell them the entire time, but they're finally done. Typically, I would let them cool a little bit before putting the icing on, but I'm gonna be impatient now. I'm gonna let them cool just a little bit while I talk about the icing, and then I'm gonna go ahead and put the icing on. So my icing, I don't know how many of you have seen some of my tutorials before or come to some of my actual decorating classes, but I have been decorating now as a business for about 7 years, and I still use Ziploc bags. So maybe one day I will move on up in the world and buy some actual piping bags, but this is what's always worked for me. I really like it, and I like the fact that when I teach my classes and do these tutorials, I can teach you in a way that doesn't require you to buy a lot of brand new equipment and invest money in something that you just might want to do here and there. Ziploc bags are things that you have on hand, ready to go, and they work. So my icing, if you did not yet watch my tutorial called, I think this one's called how to decorate dipped Easter egg cookies. I don't know, I'll put a link below. But that one has my glaze icing recipe. This one for these cookies, I actually did it a little bit even more simple than that. I did not add the corn syrup, and I did not add the white food coloring. I just didn't think it was necessary when we're trying to give it a traditional cinnamon roll cookie look. So when we're gonna do this, all it is powdered sugar, milk, and vanilla extract. I did still use the clear vanilla, but that's up to you. So then I put it into my bag, I cut the tip off just a tiny bit, and then I'm just gonna use this to ice over the top of them. Just give them each a little squiggle of icing, and they look almost like a real cinnamon roll. Matter of fact, I sent a picture of these to our friends yesterday when I was making the first batch, and I said, oh my gosh, you guys, look what I have in the oven. And our friend said, oh yum, cinnamon rolls. I said, cinnamon roll sugar cookies. And I promise you, some of these are going to that family later today. Don't worry, I won't go near them. No contact. All right, these are looking so good. The icing is kind of melting on them like it would on a regular cinnamon roll. Usually on cinnamon rolls, you put it on while it's hot. I probably would wait for them to cool. Matter of fact, maybe I'll let this pan cool and show you a close-up version of icing those. So I hope you give it a try. Please let me know, leave me a comment. Make a comment on my Facebook page. If you don't follow my Facebook page, head over to Facebook and like my page. That's How I Cookie Coach. I do a lot of announcements there as well. So enjoy, have a wonderful day, and I hope you try some of these cinnamon roll sugar cookies.